What is up, boys? It is YaroWins and I'm back with another FIFA 21 formation and tactics guide video. Now in today's video we're going to be looking at probably the most popular and most used formation over the last 2 or 3 years, I guess, in FIFA. It's been the most balanced and I guess the most effective system for both defending and attacking, and yeah, that is of course the 4-2-3-1. So we will see how effective this system actually is in this year's game, and yeah, basically I'll just show you how I play it, the tactics and all the instructions. So getting right into it, we start off obviously with the defensive style. Now if you've watched my previous videos, especially my 3-5-2 guide, I've spoken that the pressure and heavy touch option is pretty overpowered this year, as it has been especially sort of last year. And yeah, me personally, it would depend on the players that you have. But if you have fast players and those with good stamina and good interceptions as well, this is very effective because you will basically push higher, you will not give time and space for your opponents. And as long as you have good stamina and good pace and good interceptions, you can always win the ball pretty high up the pitch, start off counter-attacks. And yeah, in general it is a very overpowered defensive style. So definitely I would suggest that to start off with. In terms of the defensive width, I wouldn't touch this too much, especially for this 4-2-3-1 formation. It is very balanced as it is. You don't really need to tinker too much with the width. I think the balanced 5-bar option basically gives you the best of both worlds, and yeah, I wouldn't really touch that because it basically covers you in both through the middle and down the wings. Now, in terms of depth, if you may have noticed, the players that I'm using in defense: Alba, Bachiche, Cancelo and Semedo. So I'm using wing backs as centre backs. Shout out to my good friend Neil Guides. Now the reason for that, and this links with the depth being very high, so I'm going to be playing high up the pitch. I can afford to do that because I have very fast players playing all across the defensive line, but especially at centre back. I can catch up with opponents on the counter attack, and playing very high up the pitch will allow me to press, sort of manually press as well, and have more opportunities to win the ball further up the pitch. So if you have fast centre backs or fast defenders in general, I would suggest playing sort of high line. If not, then you probably would leave it unbalanced, but for me, I have it on 7 bars. Now for the offensive style, again, if you've watched my 3-5-2 guide, you will see that the long ball tactic is very effective again. If you have sort of fast strikers or a striker with good attack positioning, like for me that is Ben Yedder. Now he works, and similar players like that work, but in general, because counter-attacking and through balls and long balls are very effective this year, this is why you would want this offensive style. But again, you could potentially switch this around, play around with it, see what works best for you. But for me, I would suggest the long ball tactic. Now for the offensive width, because my cams are really wingers and they are effective out wide because of their pace, because of their agility, I want the width slightly above balanced, so that's 6 bars. Yeah, that's basically my reasoning for it, and yeah, I think it just gives you more options. It drags defenders out wide, and it also gives you space basically in the middle because of that. And if you have a good playmaker and a good striker, that will give them more space by widening out the pitch. Players in box, again, this really depends on how risky you want to play. I personally like to have more players getting into the box because it overloads the defenses and it gives you more chances and more opportunities, for example on counter attacks or from crosses, things like that. So yeah, that is the reason for 7 bars again. Corners and free kicks, both of these things, as I always say, is very subjective. It depends on how you play. Set pieces, for me, free kicks, I never really take them, I never really score from them, or I never do set piece routines, I just shoot directly. So I'd probably have it on 2 for me. For corners, I do like to have sort of aerial threats, but in this particular squad that I'm using, I don't really have any tall players, and even my centre backs aren't really defenders big defenders and they can't really head the ball, so probably not worth risking it. I would leave it on 2 or 3, but again, this will depend on your team. Now we move on to the instructions. For your central striker, in my case it's Ben Yedder, you always want this striker to stay central, get in behind if he is fast, and stay forward. For your cam, in my case that is Benzema, I want him to have sort of a free role, so basic defensive support, default, get into the box with a cross, interceptions also on default. For my left and right attacking mid, or wingers, both on stay forward, both get into the box with a cross, everything else as it is. For my 2 CDMs, now both these guys are very quick and I want them to basically intercept, cut the passing lanes, close down those alleyways. So both of them cover center, cut passing lanes, stay back. Then finally, just fullback instructions. Both these guys, I want them staying back while attacking. Mixed attack, because obviously you might want inverted or overlapping, so leave that unbalanced. And yeah guys, those are the instructions, those are the tactics. Now let's actually get into some gameplay and see how effective the 4-2-3-1 is in FIFA 21. So guys, as we actually get into the clips, here are some of the examples of the effectiveness of this system. And yeah, with this goal you can see how quickly the transition from defense to attack can be. I just had the ball with my goalkeeper, I did like a long throw, won the ball straight away sort of around the halfway line, and then as soon as I got past that defensive line, used the pace of my attackers like Dembele, and then it's one-on-one and you're more likely to score. Now in this example you can see the effectiveness of having fast centre backs. I win the ball, do a quick driven pass out, and then do a few more, and then yeah, just trying to find space, see, getting out wide with my wingers, basically making more space in the middle. I lose it there, but I win it back with the aggressiveness and sort of the high press, get the other chance and get through and score another goal with Ben Yedder. So yeah, that I would say is probably the best things of this formation. The CDMs and the defense that sort of try to win the ball high up the pitch, and yeah, the fact that the system is quite wide as well, it does sort of pull the defenses wider, I guess, and it just makes those kind of spaces more available in the middle. And there you see the pressure and heavy touch in work. That is a very good example actually, because that's exactly the effectiveness and the OP occasions where it really does bring you goals, because I just won the ball on the edge of the box because of that press, and then obviously I scored. And yeah, again with this, it's a similar thing. Benzema with his free roll, he's kind of aggressive, he wins it, gets back in position, gets in there, and yeah, the aerial threat. And again, that also showcases the sort of nature of the wide players, the wide cams getting out there, putting crosses in there, in this case to the far post. And yeah, it's just a generally effective and fun system to use. I would say it's not as good as it has been in previous years, but I think you still can't go wrong really with this formation. Again, I play sort of maybe slightly too aggressive in terms of a slightly too high line, but yeah, would I recommend this formation and system? I think probably still I would prefer the 3-5-2, but if you are a fan of the 4-2-3-1, I would say yeah, for sure try it if you have the right players for it. And yeah, this is again another clip, another example of the aggressiveness, winning the ball in the middle, getting the counter attack and scoring. So yeah guys, that is pretty much it. That is the 4-2-3-1 in FIFA 21. If this video did help you out, don't forget to drop a like, comment below any other formations you want to see, subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'll catch you very soon on the next video. Peace guys.